Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. My name is Jacob Silutin. I head the sales engineering for Cyberend in the Americas. I've been in the cyber security and cyber intelligence space for quite some time. And one of the reasons I started doing this webinar is we all know today there are a lot of talks about the dark web. We need visibility into the dark web. All the criminals are in the dark web. Dark web here, dark web there. There are TV shows on the dark web, on hackers and so on. But what we realize is that a lot of people don't really know what it is, how it looks like, what people do there, why is it for, and how we can monitor it, how we can look into it and get intelligence from it. So what I would like to do in the next 30 minutes is to take you through a tour of what the dark web is, what can we see there, how people act there, how people do business there, and you'll see that it's a very business-friendly environment. What are the tools that we have in our disposal to monitor it and gain information from it? And at the end, at the end of my presentation, I will take you on a real-life tour in some of the websites and places that there are in the dark web. And of course, at the end, I will leave some time for questions. So while I'm talking, please feel free to write your questions in the chat, and we'll try to address as many questions as possible at the end. We'll leave time for questions and try to do that at the end. And as Idan mentioned, after this meeting, we'll send you an email with the recording of the session and also a link with my information, so you can schedule follow-up meetings with me and the team to see how Cyberend can help you with monitoring what I'm going to show you today. All right, so let's begin. Before we dive into the presentation, this is as clear as I can make it. Please, if you're not well familiarized with all the different tools that you need to use in order to access some of these places that I'm going to show you, please don't go there without proper preparation. You'll need a dedicated machine, VPN, virtual machines, dedicated users, separated network, all the different precautions that you'll need in order to get there. Please, if you are planning to do so, if you're interested in doing so, please be very, very careful. So this is as clear as I can make it. Please don't do that without any proper tools. All right, so let's begin. This is probably a very familiar diagram that specifies what the clear web is, the deep web, and the dark web. Everybody knows this picture. You know, the tip of the iceberg is the clear web, and then we have the deep web and the dark web. But what does it actually mean, clear, deep, and dark web? The clear web is the surface. These are all the pages that are accessible via our browser. These are all pages that are indexed by Google. If we type in CNN.com, it will immediately take us to CNN.com. If we type in Amazon.com, it will take us to Amazon.com. The deep web is the majority of the internet. It's 90 to 95% of what we have in the internet. It's all the information that's not accessible via the browser, like your emails, email servers that contain all of your emails. They're not accessible to everybody. They're accessible to you with your username and password. Cloud storage, forum pages, more interesting things like things that are not indexed by Google. For example, exotic endings like .pw, that's for Palau country, or .cm for Cameroon. These things this is where we already start to see some illegal activity and some shady business. A lot of these shops that we're going to see operate in this space of unindexed endings, unindexed TLDs in the deep web. The dark web is a subset of the deep web, which is accessible only using specific tools and not your conventional Chrome or Firefox browsers. These tools allow anonymity, right? So that's one of the goals, one of the reasons people go to the dark web is to keep themselves anonymous. One of the things that is used to anonymize this kind of communication is what we call bulletproof hosts or bulletproof servers, because there's illegitimate activity on the dark web. Most of the regular hosting providers will not be susceptible to hosting this activity. So a lot of threat actors create their own servers, create their own hosts, and host these services, these web pages, so that other people can go there and basically create their own little private network for these use cases. One of the tools that is commonly used to access the dark web and really allows anonymity on the dark web is the TOR browser. So the TOR browser or Onion router is a web browser that is used in order to get to the darker corners of the internet. Despite its reputation as a tool being used by the crime underworld, the TOR web browser was actually created by the US Naval Research Laboratory as an anonymous communication tool for the intelligence agencies, and has since become a tool for criminals, researchers, academies, law enforcement, and so on. So this tool that all the threat actors are using today has been developed actually by the US Navy for research purposes. The network itself is comprised out of many proxies that allow anonymity. As you can see in this diagram here, all these proxies, once you send out communication, your communication goes through 50 different places, randomized, completely randomized, and thus allows you to remain anonymous. So this network today is maintained by the TOR project. It's a non-profit project that's operating out of Massachusetts. The funding is provided by a lot of people for this project. Some of it private. A lot of threat actors also contribute to this because it's a tool for them. While there are a lot of shady activity going on in this particular web browser, it's completely, let's say, legal. There's no bad thing that happens when you use this. It's completely legal to use it. It just depends on how you use it. You can see here at the bottom an example for an Onion site. This is what separates this particular TOR browser from your Google Chrome browser. If you take this URL right here that I have presented on the screen and paste it in your web browser in Chrome, it will not work. It will not take you anywhere. Because of TOR is a specific tool for these special sites, it allows these URLs to work. And as I mentioned, there are all these systems around the world that act as proxies between your communication and where you want to go. And as of 2017, and probably today there are much more, there are over 7,000 volunteer systems across the globe that help randomize this access. So let's understand a little bit more what happens when we take this link and we paste it in our TOR browser. So the TOR browser, they function very similarly to regular website addresses inside TOR, but TOR has some processing capabilities that allow it to understand these randomized characters that we see here and connect them to where you want to go. Unfortunately, when using TOR, you don't have these memorable like names like Amazon.com or Yahoo.com. You have to use these types of passwords, and there are a lot of kind of indexes out there that are called usually wikis to understand which address belongs to which website. So that's a breakdown on how the TOR browser works. All right, great. So now we have access. We downloaded the TOR browser. We entered a URL into our search, and now we have access to the dark web, right? Well, wrong. A lot of things that happen in the in the dark web revolve around different communities and different cultures. So let's take a look at a few examples here. As you know, there are a lot of threat actors from all over the world. Some of them speak English, but a majority of them speak other languages that are not English. The dominant languages on the dark web or in these types of places is either Russian, and you can see an example here, Turkish, Persian, Arabic, Mandarin, and many other languages. So a lot of threat actors, a lot of threat actor groups have employees, in a sense, all around the world, and they employ people or associated with people that speak all these different languages. Furthermore, there's a culture, there's an entire culture that really differentiates itself from the mainstream culture, both with language and the way you act and behave. A lot of companies try to gain some sort of clarity into what the cultures are. Some companies create dictionaries. Some companies some researchers try to communicate and live in those places in order to understand a little bit better of how they talk and communicate. So great, now we have access to the dark web using Tor. We know the culture, we know the people, we know the language. All we need to do now is learn how to code, right? We need to learn how to hack, right? Because we want to be hackers. This is not necessarily true. The dark web, and I'll show you an example right here. The dark web is very, very user-friendly. The threat actors want to make money. That's their main goal. And in order to make money, they need to be accessible to more and more people. So what we can see here is a very nice web interface. All you need to do is select the country, select the bank, select the credit card, and you can purchase your credit cards with a click of a button, just a little shopping cart icon, just like we have in Amazon. Let's add a few to the cart and check out, and we have a brand new credit cards that we can use to buy things. Approximately 12,000 credit cards per day find their way to these shops, and they're not just used to buy things over the internet, meaning buy things online. They're also used to replicate on real plastic cards and withdraw money. Some of them come with PIN numbers. Some of them can come with all the information, first name, last name, addresses, and so on. All you need in order to buy, to use the credit card. The prices range between $25, as you can see here in this example, to a few thousands of dollars, depending on whose credit card it is and what is the balance on the bank account. So this website and many others are alive, and they constantly add more and more credit cards to the repository. And you can browse, use the very convenient search bar here and find the information you need. Another great example for something a little bit more exciting is botnet markets. These are markets that sell credentials. Bots are installed on victims' machines and collect information from these machines. They can collect everything you need in order to create a digital identity: passwords, bank accounts, usernames, names, addresses, and so on. So if I want to impersonate as a different person from a different place in the world, all I need to do is purchase one of these identities here. There's even one for sale. If I'm short on budget, only $2.10, sorry. And all I need to do is click this, head it to the shopping cart, check out, and I have all the information I need. So let's say that I've completed Jacob's training and I want to access the dark web and purchase some of these items. How do I actually go about it? How do I pay? So the payment options, as you can guess, and as you probably heard, are cryptocurrency. Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are the king of currencies in the dark web, because Bitcoin and others are also anonymous. They are not subjected to any country law, tax, or regulation. It's very easy to use them in order to buy things and sell things on the dark web. The transaction takes only a few seconds. There are no limitations. You can send and receive as much money as you want, and nobody is asking questions. There are logs for Bitcoin transactions or other cryptocurrency transactions, but you cannot identify who is behind the transaction. So now you might be asking yourselves, okay, I need to purchase some things on the dark web. I want to pay the person on the other side. How do I know that I get what I paid for, right? After all, we're dealing with criminals. We're dealing with people with very low morals, let's say. I pay them $100. How do I know I get what I paid for? So even in the dark web, there are some services that help protect you. There are people that, for an additional fee, of course, they also want to make money, can be involved in your transaction as the forum administrator, or as an escrow account, or as a moderator of some sort in your deal. So if you want to close a deal with someone and you both accept an escrow account, as we see here, you'll need to transfer your money to the escrow account. The escrow account will vouch for you, say, yes, I've received the money from Jacob, he's legitimate. And once I confirm that I received the goods, the escrow account will transfer the money to the supplier. I can see a few examples here. There's even a court when it comes to these disputes between threat actors and customers. The amount, you can see the amount here. You can go with the different amounts and who's going to moderate this deal. There's a claim. After my confirmation of the transfer, the stock exchange went down and the seller did not receive the money, and so on. So you can see that there's a complete case here that has been trying to be resolved by a moderator. And it all happens in this type of criminal environment. But even the criminals want to make their money and want to resolve these types of issues. If we go to the next slide, we'll see a few additional precautions that the moderators and admins of different forums can take in order to enforce their decisions of what they take in the courts. For example, as you can see here, one of the threat actors was banned because he didn't do something. He didn't maybe provide the goods, or maybe he didn't pay the money. He got banned, and now after the dispute was resolved, okay, the ban has been removed. So now he can continue working working in that forum. The admin again is saying that the situation is under control. We have another admin here or we have a customer here. It says the debt or a provider. The debt has been paid in full. I have no complaints. So everything was resolved and everybody can go back to normal. This is very important in these communities. Reputation is everything. As soon as somebody stains your reputation and it turns out you're not as legitimate as you were claiming to be, you will start losing money. Your business, your reputation will go down, and thus people will start to trust you less, and your revenue will go down. These groups act as businesses and they care about revenue. So the more you stand behind the findings and the things you're selling, and the more you complete good deals and you have happy customers, the more people come to you, your reputation will go up, and so on. So let's see what our company Cyberend can do versus these threat actors in just a few slides, and then we'll take a look at an example of how we conduct a threat intelligence operation in order to gather this information and provide it to our customers so they can be more aware of what's happening in these activities. So what we do at Cyberend is we have an holistic view about what's happening outside your organization. So we monitor your external digital footprint, we monitor your social media, employees, development environments, payment methods, and so on. And on the other hand, all this activity that's happening in the dark web with threat actors talking to each other about phishing, account takeovers, ransomware, and so on, that target your organization, we stand in the middle. We have visibility into both places. We have our attack surface monitoring feature that allows us to identify your external digital footprint and see what the threat actors see from the outside in. And on the other end, we have threat intelligence, and we collect information from the clear, deep, and dark web from these places where the threat actors are, and we correlate the two. If we find that you have a digital asset outside your organization that somebody is mentioning in one of these places in those forums, we can alert on it and proactively alert you that there is something going on that you should be preparing to. So let's take a look at a few examples of a few cases that I've worked on in the past that have been reported to our customers. So the example number one, as we can see here, is somebody selling access to a hospital with admin access. So this is one of the forums. You can see that the seller here is mentioning the assets of the customer. The way he's selling it is a kind of like an eBay bid. So start 1 Bitcoin means the first price. Every step, which means bid, you can bid in 0.1 Bitcoin. And if you want to buy it now, like you do in eBay, you can buy it now. You need to pay 2 Bitcoins. And he's waiting to see who is going to bid on this and who is going to buy the access to this hospital in 1 Bitcoin. Now, this is dated from 2017. Obviously, the Bitcoin has risen significantly since then, but also back then, I believe that Bitcoin was a few thousands of dollars. So you can understand the size of this deal and what it means to the threat actor. Another example we can see here is people selling 0 days. We have what we call ZeroDay Brokers, and they collect 0-day vulnerabilities and sell them. So if, for example, there's a mention of one of the organizations that Cyberend is monitoring, in those posts here, we'll be able to alert this to our customer and let them know that there is a 0-day vulnerability associated with their organization being offered for sale. By the way, take a look at the price here. The price is $250,000. That's a very, very high price for a 0-day vulnerability. And these are the types of profits threat actors can make on the dark web. All right, so let's take a look at intelligence, right? Cyberend is a digital risk protection service company. One of the things that we do is we provide threat intelligence to our customers. But what is threat intelligence and how do we collect it? So intelligence is the same whether you collect it with a camera, with a drone, via listening to recordings of phone calls, and whether talking to individuals. There are many different types of intelligence. One of them is called human intelligence. What we do is a subset of human intelligence, which is called virtual human intelligence, meaning we conduct conversations with people and we talk to people on in the virtual space. Now, the intelligence cycle collecting is comprised out of a few stages. We plan, we collect, we process, analyze, and take actions to mitigate or disseminate the intelligence, the analyzed intelligence, and the circle continues and goes on. Now, how do we collect information? Is this circle on the right? It's one of the stages, the collection. We start with greeting or meeting the individual that we want to talk to. We engage with questions in a direct or indirect manner. We collect the intelligence we want to collect. We disengage. We close the loop with this engagement. Maybe we pay something or buy something or just say we're not interested and disengage. And then we continue with processing the information that we gathered and so on. This is a very, very well-known collection concept in intelligence. So any type of intelligence really relies on the 5 W's and how. Who are we talking to? What are they doing? What are they selling? What are they providing? When did they obtain this information? When is this information dated to? Where did they get the information from? Why they're using this information? Why they're trying to do what they're doing? And how they got the information. So I'm going to show you an example for a real threat actor engagement that happened a few years ago. I'm going to show you the post on the forum on the dark web. I'll quickly review it. Try to keep in mind those 5 questions, the 5 W's and how, 6 questions, I'm sorry, the 5 W's and how, and see if you can complete the picture. I will, of course, review the results after I show it for a few minutes. So here we have an example of a threat actor who is selling a SCADA system of electrical generation for sale. We see the company name highlighted right here, Pemex Mexico. We see some information provided. We see the contact information of the threat actor, so we can direct message him. The threat actor group is called KelvinSec team. This was published June 2020. Let's see if there's a date here of the information. You can see the logs of the information are dated from 2019. So we have some of the answers for some of our questions that we saw in the previous slide. But we need some more information so we can approach the threat actor and talk to him. Again, using the tools we saw, using the language we saw and the culture, making ourselves appear as we are acting a legitimate actor in this space, and we can ask the questions. So we ask, hey Kevin team, I want to ask you about the SCADA software that you're selling. We can see here the SCADA system is for sale with 3 systems and 2 databases obtained from the Pemex oil company. Great. Is it built in? It is not built in, and it will cost $50 for everything. All right. Another question. How did you get this information? It was obtained from Pemex when we hacked its supplier of industrial monitoring system. So it looks like a third-party breach. So let's see what we gathered when it comes to intelligence. All the information we saw together with this conversation we had with the threat actor allowed us to complete the answers for the questions that we asked just a few slides ago. Who is selling it? KelvinSec team. Again, we don't know who they are really, but we know their name in this forum. What are they selling? They're selling 3 SCADA system login info and 2 databases. When was it obtained? We saw the post in 2020, but the logs were indicating 2019. So this is information dating 2019. Where is it being sold? It's being sold on a Cyberend forum. Why are they doing it? For all purposes, it looks like they're doing it for money profit. They're trying to profit out of it. That's not the only thing they're selling. They probably have a complete list of things that they're selling. And how did they get it? As we mentioned, we saw that they hacked a third party or supply chain vendor. They attacked it and they obtained the information about the Pemex oil company. That's an example of just one example of the many virtual human operations we conduct on a daily basis. This is how we collect information, and this is the information we provide to our customers. So with that being said, and with this example, I would like to show you the next few slides will be a few examples of what I like to call dark web safari, a few examples from a few screenshots from real places, real findings on the dark web. And after that, I will switch to my red computer, red machine, and I'll show you some real life examples of forums and places that we can visit on the dark web. All right, so over here we see amazing list of databases that are just offered for download on a forum. A lot of people like to take all the different databases that are being sold or being released and just collect them into collections. And over here you can see That's not the full list of 400, but 441 hacked databases. You have Twitter here, Ubisoft, Vodafone, CD Projekt Red for the fans of The Witcher. So many different databases that you can just choose from and get credentials. Another example, personal information for sale. All this information that is being offered for sale here includes first name, last name, state, zip code, addresses, date of birth, social security number for the United States citizens, phone number, city, and email address. This is a full identity, and you can just scroll through here and buy it for $8. Chase accounts. Chase is a bank in the United States. Username, password, and you can also see the balances of the checking accounts here. Also for sale, $350. Very easy to purchase. Another example, tools. If you need a tool to use to hack someone, to crack something, to check something, you can also use the dark web to find those tools and use them as a service. So you just choose your tool. I need to crack or hack or find something. You just choose your tool, purchase it, describe the service you need, and people execute it for you. Some more examples. This is one of the threat groups from Russia. They're called Columbus Keystopper. As you can see here, they sell documents. They sell interception devices or Wi-Fi devices. They also sell fake IDs. Stopper means corkscrew opener in Russian. And you can see that they include the corkscrew in all of their images here. So, and you can see the quality, by the way, of the fake IDs. The IDs are work with the UV markings and everything. So very, very good product. All right, so let's take a look at the real deal. I'll stop sharing this screen and I'll start sharing my other screen. Give me just a second. Just 1 second. Stop sharing this. And I'll go and start sharing the other PC. So bear with me. Of course, I need to re-log in. Give me 1 second. All right, share screen. All right, so I see that you can see my screen. So this is as I mentioned at the beginning of my presentation, I'm using a separated device, a completely different laptop that is connected to a VPN that runs a virtual machine that does not contain, this machine does not contain anything about me. I don't have my personal email here. I don't have my personal Facebook accounts, no bank accounts, nothing. This machine is completely blank, and I will also try not to log into anything personal here. So nothing can be traced back to me. The best practice is also to connect to a different network, but unfortunately I don't have 2 separate networks in my house, so I use VPN. But we can see a few examples here, very, very user-friendly examples, in this case, to buy US fake driver licenses. So if we scroll down here, we'll see the different products that the threat actor is offering. I personally live in Texas, so we have Texas driver license for $200, which is worth 0.00493 Bitcoins. You can click buy it now, connect to the threat actor, and purchase it. Another thing I can purchase is if we go right here. Sorry, my Zoom is blocking my view, so let me try to move it here. If we go here, we'll see that we can find prepaid EU debit cards. So as you can see, this website is a little bit even a little bit more user-friendly. There's a home page. There's a place for products. There's a place for services. there's a place for testimonials even. So if you're not sure that you want to buy credit cards and you're not sure about the person you're interacting with, you can read some of the testimonials. Maybe somebody has something nice to say about these criminals that sell prepaid debit cards. Let's give it a second to load. Maybe, yeah. I searched for a trustworthy Tor CC vendor and finally decided to buy from here because the response time was fast. $4,599 cashed out successfully. Wabam! So as you can see, these guys are legitimate, and we can definitely do business with them. Another example here we can see is Rent a Hacker. Not everybody is well versed in hacking. If you want a small job, for example, email or Facebook hacking or installing Trojans or a small DDoS, you need to pay 250 euros and you can log into your ex-husband or ex-wife's Facebook page and so on. Now to some more serious or scary things. We can also see that there are people who are trading weapons on the dark web. So we can see weapons for sale for $400, $500, $550 for sale. There's a full list of different weapons you can buy. And another example I have here is PayPal. So PayPal accounts, 100 PayPal accounts, 100 eBay accounts, 100 credit cards with CVVs, you can buy for $100 each and try to validate them. 80% working guarantee will replace if more than 20% don't work. So customer service, very, very good. Another place where threat actors, another vector of threat actors like to take is ransomware. And of course, all the ransomware groups have their news pages on the dark web. So Conti, one of the ransomware groups that is less active today, they have a website where they publish all of their different hacks. What I like here at the top is, this is my favorite thing, they call their victims clients. So if you're a client who declined a deal and did not find your data on the cartel's website or did not find any valuable files, this doesn't mean that we forgot about you. It only means that the data was sold and therefore it did not publish in free access. So I like it how they call their victims clients. Another threat actor group is Clop. We can see here their website. They have a few statements here, and then they have updates on their victims and the data that they are publishing. Another example is leaked data from Logbit. Logbit is another company. We can see that their website is also very fresh. They have a counter of when they're going to publish the information that they obtained. It's a very convenient way of understanding how much time you have before all of your information is being exposed. And lastly, the worry not, the CIA also has a website on the dark web on where you can read about the CIA. So they're just trying to join the gang and show everybody that they're also cool. So these types of websites also are here on the dark web, and you can access them as well. So with that said, I'll stop sharing and go back to my previous presentation, to my other machine. And now will be a good time for questions. Get rid of this here. And let's see what questions we have in the chat. All right, so we have a great question here from Michael. Aren't we making a potential dangerous assumption that someone selling a hack kit, like the Pemex example, is merely after the money from us and not trying to set up a loosely directed sabotage for some more complex reason? yes, we are making assumptions when we buy things on the dark web. It's as you can understand, we're not dealing with the friendliest of people or the more you know, how would I say that? They don't have high morals, they don't have high credibility. However, they do care about their reputation. So if we buy information from a threat actor and we realize after the fact that this information, maybe they sent us a Trojan, maybe they scammed us and not paid us, we can definitely go back to where we obtained this information and file a complaint. It works just as you file a complaint against a restaurant. You go to a restaurant, you don't like the food, you file a complaint, and the restaurant will do everything they can for you to remove that Google review from their Google page, right? So threat actors act very similarly. If you damage their reputation, nobody else is going to come and buy from them. They can lose their business. Of course, they can spin up a brand new identity and bring a brand new nickname or something, but that usually involves a lot of efforts from there, and they don't want to make that effort. They're a very well-oiled business machine, and they want to make money. So I've seen some cases where threat actors scam other threat actors, but they're very rare because, again, they want to maintain this type of reputation. So yeah, how do they send illegal stuff like weapons to the buyer? A lot of these things, usually if you do want to buy weapons and drugs, these things happen through local agencies, I would say. So if you're located in the same country as a threat actor and you want to buy a weapon or drugs or anything else illegal, they usually use proxies, they use drop-off points, they use lockers in subway stations, just like you see in the movies. The majority of things that are being sold are digital, meaning access, credentials, databases, and so on. So that's a lot easier to do, anonymous uploads of databases and so on. All right, how can you stay updated with the latest and newest closed hacking forums? So there are a lot of companies out there that do threat intelligence monitoring. Cyberend does that. We keep track of thousands of sources that we have from the clear deep and dark web, including tens of different forums. A lot of them are closed forums, so not everybody can access them. We do, however, have avatars that we maintain that have a reputation that our analysts maintain for us. And using these avatars, we can gain access to these closed forums and collect information. And building an avatar in one of these forums is not the easiest task. You need to pass tests, you need to be validated by other forum members, and so on. Great question from Gilbert. We heard that there are good things on the dark web. Have you seen this in your travels on the dark web? There are some good things. There are people who use this infrastructure to do investigations, private investigations, to needs when you need to be anonymous and gather information. That's a good place to be in. I haven't seen a lot of legitimate businesses opening shops on the dark web because it's a little bit inaccessible. But yeah, the dark web can be used for good things. I've seen, for example, people on some forums, for example, people who post child pornography and try to sell it. Other threat actors attack them, either virtually or, they tell them explicitly, take this down, you'll be banned, and so on, or actually attack them, try to hack them, try to damage them in some way. So even the bad guys are good guys sometimes. But that's a great question. It's an interesting question. Let's see what else. I'm going to go through the questions again. So another great question from Jesus. I hope I'm pronouncing the name correctly. How do state or state-sponsored actors behave? Meaning they hire talent here, or they only work in closed-night environments? Yeah. So state-sponsored threat actors is a completely separate type of topic. As far as we know, state-sponsored actors are state-sponsored, meaning they have some sort of connection to the state, to the government. From how I see it, there's some connection to the government. Maybe somebody who works for the government, maybe works for the military of the government, who is in touch with threat actors that are not related to the government. They are not employed by the government. Kind of work from home type situation. People who are well versed in these forums and in this environment, and they connect with these individuals in the government and form a group, and then they have combined, let's say, goals to either protect their country or act up in behalf of their country to do some illegal activity, and they get paid. They get a lot of money from the state, or from, not directly from the state. They're not employees, of course, but they gain money from it. So you need to remember that everything that people do here in this environments usually involves money. Sometimes it involves patriotism, or defending your country, or attacking a different country because of XYZ, but a lot of times it's mostly money. So the well-known threat actor groups are usually what we call state-sponsored. They work for money. Is there any way to track down people on the dark web, for example, CIA and other law enforcement agencies? And if so, how do they do that? It is very, very, very difficult to track somebody on the dark web. As we saw, there are a lot of mechanisms involved to anonymize where you're from, but it is possible because people make mistakes. People make mistakes. People don't take all the precautions that they need, and thus, if you make a mistake and somebody digs enough, they can track you down. So, for example, if I would have used my own machine to log into the TOR browser, or maybe I wouldn't use a VPN, or I wouldn't use a virtual machine, or I would not take all these precautions, my activity on my PC could be tied to other activity on that I do on my PC. Meaning, if I log into Facebook on the same machine that I use for dark web, they could be connected, and then it can be traced back to me. So yes, there is a way to track people down. It is not easy. If you take all the precautions, it's almost impossible, but people usually make mistakes. If it's not you, it's your friend. If it's not your friend, it's your partner. If it's not your partner, it's somebody else in the forum. Eventually, people make mistakes. And as you can see in the news, right, we are seeing a lot on the news that threat actors are being arrested, ransomware groups are being arrested, people are starting to pay and see the consequences of their actions on the dark web. So there are ways, there are companies to do that. The CIA, of course, has a lot of power. They sit on the internet connection, so they have a little bit more visibility than the average Joe, but there is a way to do that. All right, I see that. I think we reviewed all the questions here.
Yeah, so we have a couple of questions on the chat, Jacob, if you can take a look.
Let's see. Chat. All right, let's start from the top. All right, where are the guns first obtained from? Ex-military, so much is for gun control laws. And another question here. Stolen goods, if intercepted, is the manufacturer distributed notices through Cyberend services, or just falls through the collects or inside deals with employees? So weapons are obtained in many various ways. As I know from Israel, I'm from Israel, I know that a lot of weapons are being stolen from the army. So people break into army barracks, and steal weapons. A lot of weapons are being smuggled from other neighboring countries, like Lebanon or Syria. There's an intake in illegal weapons in Israel right now. So even if, and what the weapon dealers usually do is they also try to get rid of any evidence, the serial number, the manufacturer, and so on. So it's very hard to trace. Of course, if we as Cyberend have a customer that manufactures weapons, and we see its name on the dark web, on one of the forums, we see its name, we can of course tell that manufacturer, hey, we've seen somebody selling 20 guns of your brand on the dark web. Do you know of anything missing? Do you know of any inventory imbalances and so on? So that's usually how we respond to these things, and this is usually how the guns get to where they get. Stolen cell phones from carriers occur every day. The thieves are usually thugs, but they have selling to launderers. Have you seen these people on the dark web? Yes. Cell phones, stolen goods, it's something that I didn't show an example, but stolen goods is a very, very, very trendy vector. You can see a lot of stolen cell phones, stolen laptops, stolen iPods, stolen AirPods, stolen high fashion, Gucci and the likes sweaters for thousands of dollars. So yes, these things come also and find their way to these forums. I think we have one more question. What are folks on the dark web doing to get around quantum's future impact on current encryption? I'm not sure I understand this question. I'm not familiar with the quantum encryption. Maybe I need to do some more reading. So yeah, that's all the questions we have here. If there are any other questions, I think we have. I'm just double checking here. I'm just going to answer one last question. I think here we see, what is the biggest misconception of dark web according to you? The biggest misconception to me is that it is something so far-fetched that you can't see and can't monitor and can't feel on your own. To me, people are very, very scared of the dark web. But again, there's a lot of things to find there. There's a lot of intelligence to find there. It's, at the end of the day, it's open source intelligence. It's open. If I can go there, you can go there. All you need to do is be very, very careful. And if you don't want to go there yourself, you can use services of companies like ours, like Cyberend, to monitor it for you. So in order to monitor it on a day-to-day basis, it takes a lot of resources, a lot of time, a lot of effort. Companies like ours can do that for you. But again, the biggest misconception is that it is this wonderful wonderland place where you cannot go in and cannot visit and cannot get any information from. But you can, it's accessible, and I definitely recommend to any cybersecurity professional to make sure that you do have visibility into what's going on there, because all of the latest ransomware attacks that we've seen all are being discussed beforehand on some of these forums. People trade information all the time. People mention companies all the time. And if you can monitor this and use this intelligently, you can prevent the next attack from happening. So I think we'll wrap up with this. Thank you very much for taking the time to listen.
Thank you, Jacob, for this great webinar. And as mentioned, Jacob will send an email with a link to schedule a meeting if you want to see a demo or if you want to ask more questions. And also, you will get the recording of this webinar in the next couple of days. And of course, feel free to contact us, visit our website to read more information about the dark web on Cyberend. And thank you very much, all of you, for attending. Hope you enjoyed.
Thank you. Have a great day.